Hey guys, welcome back to the Image Duo. This is episode 2 with me, Connie. I'm a fashion stylist and image consultant, and my very good friend,
Mwenesi, image consultant and performance coach. And yes, this is episode 2. We're here answering 100 questions. 100 questions. You guys, we've been picking these questions up for the last couple of months, and you guys have asked us these questions. So we figured what better way to do it than sit down and go systematically and answer every single question.
And remember, Image Duo is here to stay. Question 2. What is the difference between personal branding and marketing?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I think we discussed personal branding in the first episode, and
Yeah.
I think personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room,
Yeah.
the kind of impression that you leave them with,
Yeah.
and your values, because
Yeah.
all of this will have an impact with how people engage with you. I would say marketing, just by by virtue of the definition of the word, is where is how you can connect buyers and sellers. So for me, the word market means where buyers and sellers meet.
Okay.
So if you have an environment where you're selling something and you want someone to purchase what you're selling, that to me is marketing. So there's a deliberate effort to make someone purchase or buy into or accept what it is that you're bringing to the table or to the market.
So there's a willing buyer and a willing seller.
Sometimes buyers are not willing, so you have to convince them.
That's
you have to
also
be
true.
a merchant.
That's true. That's
you have
true.
to be a salesperson.
That's true.
So there's an element of convincing. There's
That's
an
also
element
true.
of persuasion
Yeah.
as well. And so for me, marketing kind of encompasses all of that. Where I think personal branding fits in is where now you have more visibility, more impression, so that you can make that purchasing decision much easier than if you didn't have a strong personal brand.
So what's the correlation? Let's say, let's look at a personal branding and in the marketplace for someone who's just left university and is joining, their first job. So what would the correlation be there? Then I will look at that first, and we'll take a different case scenario.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So in that case of someone leaving university and,
Yeah.
and looking for their first job,
Yeah.
I would say they need to look at themselves as the product
Okay.
or as the service provider. So as a student, I've left campus, I'm now entering the job market. What product or service am I bringing to that market? How am I marketing myself? How am I bringing my product and service to the people who will purchase this, i.e. the employers or the people who will give you consulting work or whoever it is that you're eventually going to work for? How am I packaging myself?
So it's packaging.
It's about the packaging.
So
It's
packaging.
about the putting together, which personal branding
Yeah.
really helps and contributes to.
All right.
Because if you've got good values,
Yeah.
you leave a good impression, and you're able to communicate your agenda, then I guess you stand a better chance of being taken up.
So now we've discussed basically if you're from high school getting into your first entry job, is how you're packaging yourself to your potential employers.
Right.
What if you've been working for probably 10 years? How is your personal brand in the marketplace? How does that change? Actually, let me bring it back slower. Let's say 5 years. So,
Yeah.
let's say John. So John has done his 5 years. He packaged himself. He got the job he wanted in the, in the organization he wanted to work with. So now it's been 5 years in. What's next for him with his personal brand in the marketplace?
I would say it depends on what John wants to do.
Yeah.
If John has enjoyed his job and he wants to continue climbing the corporate ladder in the business that he's in, if it's not his business, if he's an employee and he wants to go from maybe an officer or a junior person to a manager, to a director, to eventually sitting on the board or even having shares in the business, then there's a systematic step that he needs to take, and different packaging will apply at different levels.
Okay.
So there will be an element of rebranding at certain stages. There will be elements of making sure that the target market that he was targeting at junior level might change.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about marketing.
True.
You have to put yourself in the mind of the person that you are selling your product to. You have to understand who is your customer, because marketing is about getting customers to buy your product. So depending on which stage you are, whether you're leaving high school or you're already in the business and you've been working for a couple of years, always remember that your customer matters.
Perfect. So now this is John. He's got entry. He's done his 5 years. So now let's look at John 20 years now. His brand and the marketplace. Because also part of your brand also is the people around you. So probably as a family now, he has children. This is 20 years old. So what happens between his branding and the marketplace? What happens then 20 years on?
Right. A big part of marketing is understanding that the market will always keep changing.
Sure.
I mean, today, I remember, for us growing up in the 90s and into the 2000s, we went through a period where we went from, if I use music as an example, we had the vinyl, then we had the cassette tape, then we had the CD, then we had the MP3. Now everything is online and it's on a cloud, and we've gone through all these changes in the marketing of music. Similarly, 20 years is a long time, and a lot will change in terms of how work is performed. Nowadays, we're in a situation where we have cell phones, we have internet, we have computers, so we can work virtually. It's not about clocking in and clocking out. So marketing means you have to pay attention to the environment and the dynamics of the market and the trends. But your personal brand is who you are, and regardless of whatever happens in the market, you need to make sure that your personal brand stays relevant to that market.
Great. So I think to wrap up, the key take home for our viewers is, from when John enters, from his high school into the entry market, he's packaging himself. 5 years on, he's just adapting to the different target he wants to be within the workplace, whether it's a junior manager, senior manager. 20 years on, he's still adapted to the then scenario that will be then. But the key thing about it is his personal brand. He himself doesn't change.
Correct.
His brand just adapts to the environment that's there at that current time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching.